Universal's Epic Universe, the most significant addition to the theme park capital of the world in over 25 years, is set to open in just a few months. This highly anticipated park promises 5 unique, immersive themed lands with cutting-edge attractions that has every thrill seeker eager to be among the first to experience them. However, even though team member previews are taking place in which their guests are supposed to be exclusive to just family members, there have been reports of certain prominent social media influencers gaining access by joining them, prompting a consequential response from Universal themselves. Let's dive into this controversy, discussing influencers posing as team members' families and the unfortunate consequences that followed right here on That Park Place.
It seems that there's a new theme park coming to the Orlando area. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but
I've heard nothing about this.
Epic Universe over there by a company called Universal Studios is going to be opening up in just a little while, but the park is kind of open, but not really open. It's invite only. And when I say invite, I mean team members are allowed to go in so they can test things out, have a nice long preview time here. And it's being handled pretty much how previews are supposed to be handled, where they're happening backstage. Not like those Tiana previews where everybody and their mother got invited to go and ride those rides.
And trapped on the ride.
And trapped. To try to find a way out.
Yes, everybody got invited in, but nobody was able to get out.
You're not kidding. This is how familiar we got with the exit strategy on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We see these massive keys that are brought out to get them. Anyways, we're talking about Universal here. So they're in team member previews, and team member previews mean that team members are also allowed to invite close friends and family. And when they say close friends, they mean friends who are like family here. But let's talk about this one. Out of That Park Place, Universal Epic Universe team members previews infiltrated by influencers, undermining the unfinished park's opening with premature reporting. I love that word, influencer. Yeah, it is good alliteration. I like that word influencer, and how much I don't like that word influencer. But content creator also has its downsides here. This one by M. Montanaro, who happens to be here with us today. Universal Orlando's Epic Universe theme park is one of the most ambitious projects in theme park history, promising to reshape the entire Orlando tourism landscape. With its grand opening slated for later this year, Universal has wisely initiated internal Epic Universe team member previews, a common practice in the industry. These previews are not only a reward for hardworking employees who make the parks run smoothly, but are also part of crucial technical rehearsals. Attractions are tested, operations are fine-tuned, and the overall guest experience is polished before the gates officially open to the public. One of my favorites is the Starbucks that was only open to employees of Universal here.
Yeah, I like that.
The Starbucks, I think, was particularly nice. But to see some drone footage and some helicopter footage of team members sitting up, team members, doing audio tests in various areas. Man, very exciting time.
Well, also, I feel like you can tell team members what to do. Also, they're going to be on their best behavior because who's in charge of this? Well, there's one person in charge of everybody, essentially. So you can have a test, but also have it where it's not as much risk. Everyone there has your best interests at heart. Well, let's continue on that idea. However, it seems not everyone is respecting the intended purpose of these previews. Team members are permitted to bring up to 3 direct family members, including a spouse, sibling, parent, child, or domestic partner. However, some Universal team members have reportedly invited social media influencers, content creators, and bloggers as their guests, posing as their family members. Rather than quietly enjoying the early sneak peek, these influencers have taken it upon themselves to share commentary and answer questions on the unfinished park, often glossing over the fact that it's still in the middle of construction, testing, and last-minute adjustments. Here's a couple of those influencers here. We have... which channel is that guy from? I forget. During the event, there were even signs everywhere stating that guests are not permitted to take photos or videos. It's another thing that we were very surprised that Disney did not do when Tiana's Bayou Adventure if they had had some kind of a cell phone policy, we wouldn't have gotten so much backstage footage of what the
They
former
had full
Splash-
confidence. They had full confidence in Tiana's Bayou Adventure when they rolled it out. Just, we got nothing to hide.
Man, that did not play out the way that they thought it would. During the event, there were even signs everywhere stating the guests were not permitted to take photos or videos. Universal leadership has already addressed this issue directly, sending an internal email to employees about the Epic Universe previews. The email reads, I hope you have been enjoying this opportunity, which we designed specifically for you to share with those who are your family or who are closest to you and considered family. We would like to remind you that we are intentionally excluding broader audiences at this time, as we are still in a period of technical rehearsal. We trust the team members will not abuse this opportunity and respect the need to wait until the park is officially open to host others. I think that's a better word for influencers here.
The others.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of people online who have been and are doing long form videos about it, and I don't have a problem with all of the people who are posting content online. Um, Maybe some people from that park place have been in the park. I couldn't tell you any of that, of course. Maybe there have been discussions to go in, but maybe I've been hiding out in the Toadstool Cafe storage closet, subsisting on garlic knots, leftover garlic knots. I would never steal from the actual paying customers. Yeah. The banana milkshakes, I nobody was there to serve me directly, so I had to make them on my own. Weren't as good as I expected them to be, but to each their own. This is something where I think if an influencer is invited, it would be pretty difficult to turn down the opportunity. But also, you got to be cool about it, right? Right, guys.
You can't judge the product based on an unfit. You can't review a play based on a dress rehearsal.
Right.
It's not polished yet. I mean, like I have friends that have been in Epic Universe, and they basically told me that like it would be completely unfair to report on the things that are out there. Like my one friend told me that the Bowser statue still had plastic wrap on it. Like things are not running yet. This is 100% a dress rehearsal. It is not meant for public eyes. It's not something that people should be answering questions about in a way that will help people plan their trips. That's irresponsible, because what you're seeing here is not what you're going to get. You really got to wait until the the press events for that to really have Universal putting its best foot forward.
The only thing
I totally agree, but also you got to keep that Bowser castle new in box for as long as possible.
the thing I have a problem with most of all is definitely people maybe breaking the rules when it comes to cameras and footage and so forth, which we have heard a couple of instances of this happening. Apparently, a bunch of team members have been, as they say, promoted to guest. In fact, one team member took it upon themselves to make sure that was going to happen with their legitimate family. You can see right here. In this specific instance, this team member made her family use tape to cover up all those cameras on their cell phones right there, which is not a terrible idea. I don't see the front-facing camera getting any tape, that is, but they were taking matters into their own hands. They're not going to go ahead and be dismissed over something like this.
Okay, I just got that. I was wondering what promoted to guest meant. I thought it was just
fired.
When you get fired, and then if you visit the park, you're visit. Okay. See, I don't know why that took me so long to understand what that joke was.
It makes sense to me, though, because, if you are a team member and you bring someone in and they're breaking the rules, the person that gets in trouble is you. Right. And that's the same way, like Disney has had that for years with cast members, where like if you get somebody into the parks for free, you are responsible for their behavior. If you bring someone into the parks and they get caught, maybe doing something they're not supposed to be doing or violating the rules in some way, you are the one that gets in trouble for that.
I know of ex-cast members who have been dismissed from the company because they signed somebody in and that person did something they weren't supposed to do. It happens all the time. So, again, if you're an influencer and you get access and, you're able to become one of, a team member's family or whatever, you also have a responsibility to that person, I think. And unfortunately, we haven't seen, we've seen instances in which that wasn't the case a couple more times than we should have.
I actually kind of like the joke even more now. Promoted to guest, of course, implying that team members are below guests. So not that team members are literally below guests, but the attitude in which they serve guests is that
The
the
guests
guest
are our
comes
most
first.
precious resource, Jonas.
Right, right, and in some ways that is very much against some of the changes to the keys that have been happening over there at Disney, and how they've implied that show is not as important at Disney as it once was. I know that Universal has different rules than Disney. Again, they are judged by different standards because they would prefer to be judged by different standards. But like a large tattoo on the leg of a cast member at Disney that happens to be advertising a character that is owned by a different theme park company. I won't say what character it was, but that's been a lot of the complaints about the changing standards over there. And I'm not talking about facial hair, of course, because I have facial hair. I'm of course I'm not talking about me here when I say this, but facial hair not as much of a problem. Tattoos probably more of a problem. Very bright hair color and piercings being more of a problem for Disney cast members, because Disney is going for a vintage, or used to go for a vintage feel in the past. Universal's a little different. They're more the Looney Tunes to the merry melodies over there, or maybe who knows who will own the Looney Tunes here in a little bit. They're more the what's the word? They're more cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs as opposed to the nice tame Frosted Flakes over there. I don't know. I don't know if I'm communicating this idea well enough over here that Universal plays by a different standard. So yes, new Jonas lore. He has facial hair. Yes, my guess is he's Matt Walsh. Yeah, maybe I am Matt Walsh. I hate video games. I hate anything hand drawn, and I hate everything. No.
No, I mean, Universal and Disney, here's the thing. They're in the same business, but they could not be different companies. They are so wildly opposite of each other. And you could see that just by the fact that Universal is occasionally willing to poke fun at itself. Universal will embrace social media trends. It took Disney years to acknowledge the purple wall. I'm shocked they didn't paint it over when people started taking pictures in front of it. Disney loves to take those organic things that they didn't create and kill them off, so that people can't do them anymore, like the Gaston stuff. And but Universal, I mean, you have things like Earl the Squirrel, you have Little Boo. These are things that Universal has taken from social media and has spun into multi-million-dollar merchandising opportunities. Universal, I think we've hit the point where Universal is the more guest-centric company, which is wild to me.
Totally agree. Yeah. Totally agree.
This is a $7 billion product for Universal or Comcast. This is a very expensive venture for them, and this is going to, really put them on the map. So, no surprise that they want to take every precaution necessary in order to preserve the magic for, as Marvin said, the guests.
Yeah, the magic is the right word here. I like how you said this. It's an entirely reasonable stance. Reporting on an unfinished, technically rehearsing park serves no real purpose other than generating empty engagement. It's akin to reviewing a movie before the special effects are finalized, the soundtrack is added, or the editing is locked. What's more, it unfairly frames Universal's efforts as in an incomplete light, which can mislead potential visitors and stir unnecessary negativity over minor temporary imperfections. Of course, if some story beat is revealed that they're going to change here, I'm thinking about the leaks that we sometimes do when we're covering, a change in a movie, or the fact that we leaked on That Park Place and the Pro Channel, and of course the website, that Snow White was going to be making fairness into not something about her beauty, but instead something about communism, which turned out to be correct. I'm all about leaking that stuff. I think this is something where we're all going to have to be a little bit careful about it. And who knows? We'll be at Universal, and of course, we want to play nice and be respectful. There is a certain amount of I went to early previews, and this is what it was like. Okay, maybe if you get a picture and you hold on to it for a couple of years, and you're like, this is what it was like at early previews. You have to be able to time capsule that stuff a little bit.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.